Now we're going to shift our gears from these wonderful dances to pyramid energy meditation and manifestation and its useful applications and experiences. We have a special guest, Mr. Scott Filling. Mr. Scott Filling has lived in the countryside of Northern Virginia for the last 24 years. Inviting. Mr. Filling, are you ready for us? Okay, thank you. Mr. Filling has been a meditator for the last 35 years. Since the age of 20, he is gifted, or he has been gifted since the early childhood with multiple extrasensory perception skills. Mr. Filling has engaged in pyramid meditation for the last 20 years for healing, manifestation, and consciousness expansion. He holds a bachelor's of Science in Nursing and has specialized training in surgical nursing. Mr. Filling has worked in the medical information technology field and provided his past medical IT company employer with multi-million-dollar idea as part of the design team using pyramid meditation that focused on preventative health care. Mr. Filling is very experienced in using portal earth energies, ley lines, remote viewing, distant healing, and manifestation when combined with pyramid energies to be of service to humanity as well as the earth. Mr. Filling engages in Virginia politics to bring solutions to public safety problems and uses higher vibrational frequency to remove dark, low vibrational energies trapped in locations and people. Thank you, Mr. Filling.
Thank you.
Really welcome.
Thank you. Sure.
And before he gets started, I want to say one thing about him. Right, when I and Pari met him a couple of weeks back, all I asked him was, "Hey, we are doing an event in Virginia. Can you please join us?" And he instantly, without even thinking, said, "Yes, I will be there." That is Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw it in the future, so I knew
Yes.
you were going to ask me.
You bet.
Thank you.
Go for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll put this here.
Folks, let's keep the silence. This is a very deep subject, but it also is very, very knowledge. I mean, you will gain a lot of knowledge from this, a lot of insights. Whatever we have been talking from this morning, this is the culmination of it. The practical session, what Scott is going to talk about is his own experience aligned with how things work. So you will be able to draw the parallels as to how in your life what is going on. So please pay very close attention, and we want pin drop silence. Please, pin drop silence. Thank you. Pin drop silence. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you. Grateful, thank you to that wonderful presentation. Thank you, Anil. And I thank you to Pari. She is not here today, but is because of meeting at Pari at another global pyramid conference years ago. That is why I'm here today, and I got involved with PSSM. It's a wonderful group. The energy here is so wonderful. Truly it is. A wonderful group. You all are so ahead of the game in terms of the energy work and how meditation can improve things and change your lives for the better and change the world for the better. True. So I'm glad to be speaking here today, and thank you again for your time. I'm going to say we'll have some questions and answers at the end. If everybody just kind of give me a time check, somebody maybe like every 15 minutes, tell me. I think I have 45 minutes to speak, so I'm going to roll through a lot of information, and I'm sure there'll be some questions at the end. Also at the end, what I'd like to do is do a group manifestation for health and money, if anybody's interested. So I've been doing this kind of work for a while. It's been growing and growing over the years. Like Anil said, when I was born with very intuitive skills already in place. And this just comes from many lifetimes of coming down here to Earth and doing the work from all different cultures, all different practices and things like this. I've had visions since I was a child. And once around 2013 is when I had my reawakening. I had all these abilities when I was a child, didn't understand how things would work, but they would just kind of work out sometimes very well for me. And I'll give you an example. When I was in elementary school, I was a kind of an okay student. Certain subjects I was not the best in, like math. And so sometimes if I did not prepare for a test, I always found that I knew I didn't prepare for the test well enough, and the fire alarm would always go off just before the math class was to begin, which would postpone the test and give me more time to prepare and study. I'm not kidding you. True, true, very true. Manifestation as a young child, how it came into play. Yes, didn't realize that until later in life. And I was like, when I focus on things, they tend to happen, especially if they're very emotional. Emotions trigger manifestations, and I'll go into that shortly. Okay. So, like Anil said, I've been doing the meditation with pyramid energy for about 20 years now. I started off with this here, and this was before you could find things on the internet, and there were a lot of places to buy them. These were quite expensive back in the day. I think that cost $350. They're much less expensive now. But I started with this when I always had a calling when I was young towards pyramids. And the interesting, when I did some vision quest work and I had some people validate this to me at a pyramid conference, they told me back in a lifetime in Egypt, I was evidently a high priest master who taught students in one of the highest, best Egyptian esoteric schools. It was taken very seriously. And these were two esoteric pyramid engineers, and the work they do is amazing. And I met them, and they just came out of the blue and said, "Do you know who you were?" And I said, "No." Tell me. And they would tell me. And they came from two separate engineers. And I said, wow, they both said the exact same thing. So there must be some truth in it. And I think that's why from an early age, I was always interested in pyramid, the energies. While this device looks very simple, it is highly advanced. The precision, of course, is important, as I'm sure many of you know. Angles. This is a Cheops based off the design like you see in Egypt that everybody knows about, the Great Pyramid. I also use a Nubian pyramid, if anybody is familiar with that. It's a taller, this one, of course, gets big, as everybody knows, but the Nubian pyramids are taller and they're a little skinnier. And the energies between the two are different. I've experimented with them both and tried them both. I still use both of them pretty much on a regular basis every week. I probably meditate under my pyramids 5 to 6 times a week, maybe 7. So, let's see. So here's a little funny story. 8 years ago, I turned a friend on to pyramid meditation. He's very intuitively gifted. His entire family was very intuitively gifted, his wife and his daughter. His daughter at the time was about 12 years old, and her name was Agnes. And so I turned them on to pyramid meditation, and they were immediately drawn to this. And so I said, how are you liking it? They said, we're really liking it. It's really good. We love it. And I said, oh, good. Well, they said, come over for dinner. And I said, okay. So we went over for dinner one night. And after dinner, the daughter, Agnes, said, Father, I want my dessert for Pat for doing such a good grade on that recent test at school. And the father said, no, you don't get the dessert that your mother made because you did not get the A. And she said, Father, I got a B+. He goes, we agreed on an A would mean you would get the dessert. She said, I studied very hard, Father. I got a B+. He said, we agreed on an A means you get the dessert, you get the treat. And she was very angry. I just said, I studied so hard. I said, it's not my fault. Your dumb DNA genes made me fail. I did not get the A, right? And she was very angry, right? And he was like, oh my God. See, he didn't know what to do, how to come back. He said it was her father's fault because of dumb DNA. I thought that was quite a good comeback. Right. So he said, you go to the meditation room and you calm your mind and clear your thoughts. And so she was very angry. So she went off, to the room, and I said, Bill, don't do that. I said, Agnes, go to your room instead. Don't go to the meditation room. I'm going to talk to your dad now. And so she did. And so I said, Bill, this is a lesson for everybody. You never, ever, in case you don't know this, you never, ever want to get under a pyramid and meditate when you're angry. If you had a bad day at work, your boss or a coworker made you mad, you had a fight with your spouse, somebody cut you off in traffic, whatever. You never want to get under a pyramid and meditate when you're angry and emotional disruption. And the reason is, whatever you start thinking, if you start thinking, oh, that coworker, some negative thought or negative thought towards anybody, it will come back and reflect back to you. Now, I know this from experience. This is the truth. So this is a very profound education. Do never get under a pyramid when you're angry. What you want to do, and I still to this day, I'm a human being. We all have our problems. We all get upset about different things. Right now, the stock market can make everybody very upset, right? Yeah. So before I get under my pyramid, there is a method I do to calm my mind. And this actually comes from ancient Egypt. And it's still practiced today in certain cultures before they will get into pyramids. In ancient Egypt, the students would go through, I think it was 7 or 9 archways. And the archways were very designed, not just normal archways, they carried energies. And the energies, as you went through each one, was designed to clear your emotions down from anger and low vibrations like fear, doubt, anger, things like this, so that when you got finally time to get into the pyramid, you were more balanced and clear, right? So a lot of us don't have access to archways and ancient Egyptian things like this. But I've come up with a technique that I developed years ago that I've shared with many people, and they found it very helpful, not just to get under a pyramid, but also just to calm themselves so they have more settled, clear thoughts. And that's the key, all right? Not being upset if you can help it. This technique I call the 5-5-5 in a prayer. The first things you want to do is say 5 things you're grateful for in life. Okay. The word grateful and thinking grateful is one of the highest vibrational frequencies. Feel the emotion of being grateful, such as maybe a time when you were in a real bad situation and a friend or stranger provided you with assistance that just fixed the problem quickly. That's a great way to connect to being grateful. Go back to a memory where you felt grateful. Okay. And then just say that word 5 times with the emotion around it. That will start to clear it and raise your vibration. The next thing you do is 5 positive things about yourself. Say, I'm a generous person. I donate. I give my time to charity. I work hard for my family. I'm kind to animals, whatever. Okay. 5 positive things about yourself. The next thing you do are 5 words 5 times each. Now, I'm saying 5-5-5. You can do this 3-3-3, 4-4-4. I chose 5-5-5. That seemed to be a good repeating frequency for me. But the most high vibrational words per many years of testing and research done by the Japanese scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto. And if you can please pull up that book on the slide, please. If anybody's ever wants to read some interesting work about a Japanese scientist, what he did is and I think he's done over 30 years of study, if anybody's familiar with him, he would take water and he would have it pass in front of a person's mind, right in the third eye, right? And when the water would go, they would be given a card to read, just a single word like love, joy, anger, different words that would generate a frequency. And then they would freeze the water instantly. And the water, like everybody knows, would turn into a snowflake. The words that were positive and high frequency would have the most elaborate, intricate designs. And the ones that were like anger, hate, jealousy, things like this would have these deformed, ugly snow crystals, right? So he's written a couple books. I suggest if you really want to delve into that, it's a very interesting read. But out of his book, he lists the 5 higher frequency words that generate higher frequency: grateful, love, unconditional love, forgiveness, harmony, right? So you would say, choose those words 5 times each. At the end of this, after the 5-5-5, you say a prayer for yourself, prayer for family, prayer for the world, whatever. Okay. You can say multiple prayers if you want. You're now at a higher frequency. Okay. And so that helps prayers to manifest because you're also reaching out for help while you're putting it out yourself of what you want to make happen in your world, in your life. All right. All right. So about pyramids, they have very unique qualities. Could you pull up the next slide with the books, please? Yes, these are some very interesting reads. Some of them have been around for a while. Some of them are a little newer. But these are some excellent information reads about pyramid energy if you're interested. And this is where I've gotten this information over the years. So the qualities of, and I put this to experiment many times, thought and emotion amplification happens under pyramids. Manifestation increases. Healing on physical, spiritual, and emotional levels. Preserving food through dehydration. Keeping razor blades and knives sharp. Energizing water that makes plants and gardens grow quicker, stronger, and more bountiful harvest. Enhancing positive qualities of food, wine, coffee to remove bitterness and bring out the better enhanced flavors. Developing and increasing psychic abilities of all types. I myself developed my remote viewing skill as one of the skills I worked with. I was very good at it, but I even developed it further from pyramid work. And I ended up actually was known for being so good. They invited me, and I was in a film called Third Eye Spies. It's on Netflix. It's a very interesting film if anybody's interested. It's on Netflix. You can find it. I have a couple small pieces in there. It was fun to make that movie. That was good. Peaceful and deeper meditations occur. Downloads of information to solve problems. Escaping depressive thoughts and low vibrations. All what pyramids can do. One of the best ways for people to escape directed negative energy towards them, such as psychic attacks, curses, or just dark energies, which are in this world, just like where there's angels, there's also dark energy forces, right? And you can use the pyramid on a regular basis to keep your frequency high. And that is like shielding, just like in Star Trek. Put the shields up, Mr. Sulu, right? That's the old Star Trek. The new Star Trek, I'm not familiar with all the characters. But this raises your frequency as shielding against dark energies. And that's very important in this life. As little as 10 minutes a day is better than nothing if you can do it. Okay. And the beauty of doing this, what I love about PSSM is because you're also ahead of the game. Right now, with the energies in the world that we're all experiencing, we're going through very unusual times, and it's going to continue to feel unusual. Many of you who are a little bit more sensitive, maybe regular meditators, you're going to feel this. God know I've been feeling it a lot. And other friends I work with who are meditators and intuitive types, they're feeling it a lot. So these energies are feeling fluxy a lot, ups and downs currently. And then you're seeing it in the world. So even average people are feeling it as well, if you will. So meditation under pyramids can help deal with all that fluxing of energy. And there's no better time to be involved and get other people involved in pyramid meditation than now in relation to these times we're going through, because this is the big change. This is the big shift. These are the times you've heard of Ascension and where you can have incredible soul growth. So it's a wonderful time to be doing what you're doing. And that's why I'm so glad and grateful for PSSM, really. Okay. This is the next part. Raising the consciousness as group people. So this is very important. You can see there's a lot of big pyramid buildings out in the world. Patrick, I met Patrick back in 2017 too, and he was kind enough to come up and tell me. He said, "You're almost close to full enlightenment." I said, "Oh, good, great. I'm going to take a break after this lifetime." I said, "I'm so happy," and so. He said, you're doing well. I said, good, thank you. And so group consciousness is very powerful during these times to help shape the world the way we want it to be. I know there's so many things that are unfair in this world. Things we know there's better technologies, better ways to live and treat each other. And it's not always our fault, right? Where sometimes it's the political systems that get in the way usually. Right? People who are in power not making the best choices for their overall masses. And that's where group consciousness, pyramid meditation comes into play. So imagine you're doing your regular pyramid meditation in your house on a regular basis. It's like going to the gym for the mind. You're strengthening it up, keeping it strong all the time in good shape. So that when you get together, whether it's under a big pyramid building or just in groups, greater power. And so when we're all focusing together on peace and harmony and better prosperity for the world, helping to repair the damage done to Mother Earth for so long and just make our lives easier. This is how it works. This is a great time with these energies that are coming to the earth wonderful time. And as you can see, if anybody pays attention, the solar flares have increased. Even scientists say we've never seen the galaxy acting like it is. Planets, all kind of strange things never seen before occurring. We're going through the great shift, the great time, right? So it's a great time to help us become involved, change the world for the better. All right. Try to avoid becoming overwhelmed in current media, right? Easy to do. I remember I got very sick with that terrible flu going around about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I could barely get out of bed for about 5 days. And I ended up watching a lot of, well, I didn't watch a lot, but I was like, sometimes you just turn on the TV. I found it very hard to find anything that was positive. So much negative. The TVs, the movies, even the comedies kind of had, it was always something dark. I ended up only watching like environmental shows and things like that because I was just like, oh, I can't take this negativity so much. So if you become overwhelmed by negative TV, media, even on social media, okay, turn it off. Get away from it. Go out in nature, read books, listen to music you like, dance, yoga, walk, exercise, things that make you feel positive. These are very important during these times. And if you're going to do regular meditation under a pyramid, this will help a lot. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share some experiences I've had over the years. These are some of the really, some unusual but profound experiences I've had. Living on my property, I've been living there now for about 25 years in the Plains, Virginia. And I was guided there to buy this property, very unique property. And when I started having my awakening and taking training classes and meditating more and using pyramid energy, I've had 4 contacts with the ascended master known as Jesus. And there's many ascended masters out there, but Jesus and Peter the apostle, and I've had angels come as well and giving messages and information. And usually they don't talk a lot. It's very brief and to the point, but they show up. And this is not with any drugs or alcohol involved. This is just pure, good old fashioned, focused, relaxed meditation. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Where can meditation come into play into regular 9 to 5, Monday through Friday kind of job work? Well, this happened for me at my last job I worked was, I was on part of the design team for a medical IT company, and they were very good, known for being very quick and solving problems. And I was so happy to be able to work with them. And we had, for about 3 months, the president of the company, who was a heart surgeon from New York, he was just upset. Every meeting we had every week, he was so upset. He would be yelling and screaming, why aren't we solving this number one problem? We were starting to lose clients. And I was with Ivy League trained doctors from like Harvard and Yale and things like that. And none of them could come up with the answers. Nobody had answers for them. And so I started to meditate under the pyramid, asking what is going to solve the solution so this man stops screaming every week, scaring everybody, right? And everybody feeling like their jobs are at risk. So I had the download, and I told him the next time we had the meeting, he was, ranting and raving, and I actually cut him off. I just said, Greg, I have your solution. And you could have heard a pin drop. It was like, ding. Everybody went quiet, said, oh, Scott's going to lose his job. And so I just told him what it was. And right away he said, that's what we've been looking for. We're going to do it. And they rolled with it immediately. And it was a multi-million-dollar idea. The clients all reversed and came back. Thank you. All I will put due to pyramid meditation. Okay, help with that. So you can get downloads from the universe. But to get those downloads, you have to stay clear-minded. You have to let go of all the garbage that gets in the way of your life. So you have a clear transmission to get those downloads so it works best. All right. I've had time travel under a pyramid. This is true. Everybody remembers the Capitol riots because we live here in Virginia, right? Remember that crazy time, right? Woo. Well, I had been involved in Richmond General Assembly politics, but not really going down to the DC to the big stuff. I was always staying local county and Richmond politics. So, but I knew, Trump was going to be speaking. I don't go either Republican or Democrat. I'm like right in the middle, but I knew he would be speaking. I wanted to go down and get a feel because of the uniqueness of this time period that was going on. And I was thinking, I think I'm going to go down. I'm going to go check this out. And I remember one time, this was unplanned. I got under this is not, when I point to this is not the pyramid I sit under. It's a bigger one. But anyway, I was meditating under my pyramid. And all of a sudden, I literally, like you see in the movies, you see a swirling. And I didn't go physically. It went etherically with my mind, but I was seeing with my eyes. And it took me down this tunnel. And I remember like almost coming out the end, like I was spat out the end. And I was a little disoriented, even though I'm in an etherical state. And I'm looking around and I see smoke. I see the Capitol. I see people running around, screaming and yelling. I hear gunfire. And I know what's happening to me, but it was the first time I'd ever had that happen. And with that, all of a sudden it lasted. All of a sudden I heard more gunshots and it seemed to get louder and closer. With that, I thought, oh my God, we're under attack. I said, I'm seeing some kind of future where the United States is under attack. And I got scared. And when I got the minute the fear kicked in, I sucked back into my body. And I was back and it felt like this. I was like a boomerang. Like, poof, hit me like a little ricochet. And I had to recompose myself and I wrote down everything I felt. And I didn't know what it meant. And I started telling my friends, I think we're going to get attacked. I don't know when. But I had, and they said, oh, okay. So, and then 1 month later, I decided not to go at the last minute. Something said, do not go down to that event when Trump's going to be speaking. There'll be danger and chaos. And I remember what I experienced. And I said, I wonder if that had something to do with it. And it did. It was a pre-warning. Don't go down there. So pyramid energy. Amazing, right? Thank you. Yes. Unusual, but amazing. Remote viewing, that becomes enhanced. Any psychic ability you may possess becomes enhanced. And if you want to develop something, that will help it too. So if you, for example, working with politicians, I've learned is knowing when they're telling the truth and when they're not. Yes. Yes, right? Yeah, some of them. And don't think they don't know these skills, some of them. They know what they're doing. They know, right? But I've used that many times to so-called outwit them, corner them, get them to tell the truth. What are you really going to do or not do? And tell me the reason why. It's usually linked to money and power. So it can be used for that. Yeah. This is a little interesting story. My neighbors, because I live out in the country, I live in a farm country. My neighbor, who's like maybe, I don't know, he's half a mile down the road from me, his cows got out 3 times over like a 5-year period. Every time his cows would get out, it's like they would migrate and that they would come walk through the forest and come onto my property. They had to cross a road and everything to get there. And they would come down and they would all gather around the pyramid. And I thought that was unusual. So animals are sensitive to pyramid energies. And my cats that I had at the time and dogs are also very sensitive. So animals tend to like these pyramid energies too. So that's a good sign. If the animals like them, it must be good, right? Right. All right. So let's go into manifestation. I've been, like I said earlier, the story I told you, I was manifesting since I was a boy, not knowing what I was doing. And then later in life, when I had an awakening, I was realizing I could manifest under how to do it better under certain circumstances, how to set it up for success. And so I'm going to tell you some stories, but I want to go over what is it that makes manifestation successful, better, more powerful, right? Faster, right? Everybody wants things to happen now sometimes, but patience is involved. I'll tell you that doesn't always happen now. So you have to have patience and keep up on it. But if you would go to, let me see, here on the end, that one, the little studio, the one for the studio. Thank you. Yes, that one. Thank you so much. This is the studio out my property. And I was thinking, I said, my house, I needed a place to get out of my house to do my meditation and focus work. And so I was looking at things and I said, oh, if I could just have a studio, I need a studio, but it costs some money, right? And so everybody's always watching the bucks, right? And so I started thinking about this, praying, right? Focusing. I would love to do this. And then it was about maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, a man down the road who was he bought the land. He was a philanthropist, preserving land. He turned it into a big riding horse area for everybody, whether you were rich or poor. And so he had a big opening day fair. And I went down there to check it out. And there were all these people and vendors doing things. And one of them were selling raffle tickets. And the raffle was to raise money for something else, for kids riding horses or something like that. So I said, it's a good thing. And so I said, how much are the tickets? And the women said, it's $20 each. I said, okay. I said, I don't want to buy the first one off the stack. I said, can I spread them out? They said, do whatever you want. Just buy a ticket. I said, okay. So I spread them out on the table. And because I was so tuned in to energy meditation, I took my hand and I ran it along the pile, setting the intent. Intention is all about that. As I'm sure many of you know, intention is the key. Saying, where's the winner for the big drawing? Where's the winner? Where's the winner? And I felt the energy shift. And this is from years of meditation under a pyramid, right? And I said, oh, I'll take that one. And then my instinct said, buy one more to the right. And I did. I bought two. And so I bought two. And I said, ladies, I think I'm going to win this. And they said, good. Well, we hope you do. So, and my father-in-law was visiting around that time. And he liked to razz me like all father-in-laws like to do, right? And he said, why don't you build a barn out there in your field? I said, that barn, I don't have time for horses and stuff. I said, that's a lot of work. I'm busy working and everything. And, but I said, I entered this raffle. I think maybe I'll win something, maybe a barn or something, or a studio. And he started joking me every day and said, oh, okay, you're going to win it, huh? So the last day he left, he drove back with his wife back to Florida. And he said, tell me when you win your lottery. And he chuckled. Right. I said, you're going to be the first one I call when I win. A woman called me later that day and she said, Mr. Filling, I'm so-and-so with the fundraiser. You've won the barn prize. And that was it. And I got to tell my father-in-law too. That was the best part. I love that. Okay. So here are some tips for how to manifest very successfully and strong. Okay. A healthy decalcified pineal gland. You all know the pineal gland, middle of the brain. This is very important. Okay. It can become calcified over time from things like using too much fluoride. So that can be in the water, toothpaste, underarm deodorant. And there's a solution I have for that. It's not me. I didn't come up with it. I researched it. And I'll go over that in a minute. But a healthy pineal gland is part of the process. That's just for psychic abilities across the board, intuition, remote viewing, whatever. It's the pineal gland is very important. Plus, it helps with your just mental state. If you have a calcified pineal gland down the road, you can have dementia, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, things like that can occur. All right. Regular meditation to keep that frequency high is very key. That helps with manifestation because when you're praying, you're like, oh God, I need this. You know, or whoever you're praying to, whatever ascended master, there's many, or angels, whatever. Okay. And they'll come and help you. They always do. And part of the process, you have to raise your frequency kind of up to come to their level so that they can make it happen in our world. Okay. So that's why it's important to have high frequency as often as you can. Okay. Dietary changes help. Eating more vegetables and less meat will help to keep your frequency high. Breathing exercises, very important, which you all are probably doing. Yoga and connecting to nature. These all are great things to keep your vibration high. Doing things you enjoy in life, very important. As we get older, we get into ruts and routines. I've fallen prey to this many times where it's just work, right? And you're like, what are you doing for fun, right? Make sure you have fun in your life. That's very important. Some type of fun, okay? Certain locations, which I've experienced in research, and I'll be writing some books. I'm going to be doing some classes down the road further on this. Location helps. Ley lines, portals, energy hotspots on the earth are known to help with the manifestation. I'll give you a story. There's a place out west a woman told me about, and it was very remote. She said, if you go there, it's known when you do focused manifestation work, it will occur quicker. And it happened. So I went out there and I went to this place, and I was out in the event with my wife. And she didn't come with me, but I went out there, and it was kind of remote to get to. I had to rent a 4-wheel drive truck to get there, and so I went there and I meditated for about 6 hours that day, just connecting with nature and the energy, focusing on what I wanted. I didn't have a pyramid with me, but I was focusing very hard and grateful. And everything I've said is what I was doing as part of the process. 2 days later, my wife got a $10,000 pay raise increase. Unexpected, because the next 2 days later, we were going to, it was a work event of why we were even out there. And so we went out early to enjoy some nature before we had to go to the big business meeting. And even the managers said, we didn't plan this until the last minute. We just decided you all deserved it. So all the managers at her level got a $10,000 pay increase. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So 10 more minutes. Thank you so much. Some other quick manifestation stories. Politicians, I've already, if you could click on the link to Governor Youngkin. Is he in there? Did I do that one? Should be in there, Governor Youngkin. So on the end. Oh, there he is. Yes. So like I said, I've had some problems with trying to get some big issues fixed. And I focused, I said, I prayed, manifested. I said, I need to talk to somebody up the chain who can make things happen, because I was dealing with a lot of corrupt individuals to help with a very dangerous road in my county. And one day I just something said, go to this event, an intuitive, if you will, download, and you will meet Governor Youngkin there. And I went. And that's me speaking with him in 10 minutes. And he fixed the problem for me in 3 days, which prior to took 5 years working up to that point. Yes. So manifestation works with politics. And if you can go back to the other screen, to Senator Vogel. Senator Vogel, here she is, right here, right down here. Yes, this one here, right here, the woman in the blue. Yes, there you go. So she's no longer a senator, but she seemed to have an understanding of these energies. And whenever I would go to meet with her, which if you're able to get a meeting with a senator, that's lucky. If you're able then to get them to represent you with a bill to fix a problem, that's even more successful. That's incredible. And she helped me for like 5 years straight on this road problem. She never gave up. Every time I would go to meet with her, I would meditate prior to, under my pyramid, to raise my energy. And she just seemed to dig it. She just always seemed to enjoy knowing the passion I was putting into it and the energy, and I had solutions how to fix it. So she never stopped. She submitted, because when you go down to bills in Richmond General Assembly, they can vote them down. Okay, because you're dealing with all these other politicians, right? She never gave up. And eventually we had 2 bills passed, which was a triumph. I can tell you that. Thank you. Okay. There's a recent friend. She needed some help. She had some medical bills, and she said, I need some increase in my clients. I focused on her for manifestation, and she said she had 2 months of increase in clients coming in, and that helped her to pay off some medical bills. So I'm happy to help my friends like that too. Okay. So those are some of the stories I have about pyramid energy and the manifestation. I'm going to cover another topic here that's slightly outside of the pyramid energy, but I work with it. I'm a representative with the ASEA company. Has anybody ever heard of ASEA? 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 Okay. ASEA I've been using this for years. This is a unique, powerful, very powerful health supplement. When it comes in a box like this every month, 4 of these bottles are in it. And the first thing I do is I stick it under my pyramid. Because like I was saying earlier, when you have water or anything you put under a pyramid, it enhances whatever it is. It makes it better. And I will let it sit there for anywhere from 20 to 30 days. So that when I take it back out, and then you start to drink it, it's a liquid, it enhances the effects even more. And what the effects are, this is a product that ASEA Corporation, which has been around for 15 years, based out of Utah, they figured out how to make what's called redox signaling molecules. Has anybody ever heard that topic? No. Yeah, I know. I didn't either at the time. I said, what's that? Redox signaling molecules is what's in our body. There's actually books that are written about that specific title and that topic. And universities are studying it very, very much more recently than ever before because it's so effective on your health. Redox signaling molecules is what's in your body already. It's already in our bodies. As we get older, once you get past the 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, your body stops making less. Redox signaling molecules, what they do for you, they're like cell towers, which would be like an analogy would be the cell phones. When you're in a cell phone area where the grid has cell phones everywhere, the communication's easier, data comes quick, everything works more efficiently, right? And you go out, like say to an area where there's not a lot of cell towers, data slows down, communication not so good. That would be equivalent to like aging. That's what happens. So as we get older and the body, things start failing and we get achy, organs start failing. And when your organs fail and they can't do their jobs well enough, that's when you have diseases and other processes that are unpleasant and not fun start to settle in. So I learned about ASEA from a fellow nurse who was into alternative things that really worked. And I only get involved with things that really work well. There's just two companies I'm involved with. ASEA is one. The other is an advanced PEMF device, which is really great. If anybody is interested in that, it's called Centropics. You can look it up. Very powerful. It just came out about a year ago. Very powerful. But it's also a little expensive. But ASEA is more affordable, much more affordable. And ASEA, what it will do is make your body feel very good. It'll essentially, it's not disease specific. When you drink it, your body will know what to do with it because it was already there. Your body can't make it like it used to. So you're putting back in your body what it once made. And what it's made from, that the company ASEA figured out, which is heavily patented in their secret processes, is it's made from sodium chloride. And that's nothing more than salt water. They don't make it from salt water from the ocean. They make it from clean, good salt water. And it's a 3-day process. They put it through using electrolysis and they turn it into redox signaling molecules. And when you put it back in your body, or you even put it topically, you will feel the effects rather quickly. Things change quickly. You will notice it. One of the things that I originally got on it for was allergies. So, this Virginia time we're in, I love spring except the allergy season, right? So I call it the yellow snow when it just blankets everything and the allergies are really bad and the stuffy nose, right? Itchy eyes, coughing, congestion, respiratory, right? Well, it's bad. And my wife used to have to go to the ER. It was so bad. And I just said, and all the typical things that we were trying were not working, whether it was a prescription or over the counter weren't working. And she was using her inhaler like crazy. And so our friend turned us on and said, you ought to try this product called ASEA. She goes, it makes your body just function better. Problems go away. I said, really? I said, okay, well, we'll try it. And it worked pretty quick for her. Within 2 weeks, all her issues started to go away regarding her allergies. For me, it also took away my allergies, but hers were much worse. I had pre-diabetes. I don't have pre-diabetes anymore. And the way that works is when you put ASEA into your body, it goes to the locations where it's needed. So the pancreas was breaking down from age and not functioning as well as could. It also has to do with dietary. I did have to do dietary changes. You can't eat candy bars like crazy. Drink ASEA and think you're not going to have a blood sugar problem if you're kind of prone to it. But if you change your diet plus you use ASEA, everything will fall back into a line, which it did. So I broke out of a 2-year swing, which was getting worse, almost went into diabetes. Now out of pre-diabetes, normal blood sugar. Thank you. It works. Thank you. Okay. So some other issues that I've cleared up with ASEA is eyesight has not gotten worse and stayed steady. While I do have to wear glasses, these are just basic reading glasses. Without them, I can see perfectly fine. I put ASEA directly in my eyes, dropper, and it works great like that. If you have sleeping problems, ASEA will, from my experience, make you sleep much better, very rapidly. Within 3 days, you'll start to sleep better. Right. If you have topical cuts, like I have 4-acre property, I was out there working on fences sometimes, digging holes, planting trees, all kind of things. And of course, you cut yourself up here and there, right? And what I learned is if you take the ASEA and you would put it on a wet gauze, it will heal it up 3 to 4 times quicker. That's how you know it's working well when you see it on the outside of the skin versus what's being put in your body. That's how you know. So it's very, very fast acting. So for people who have older population, I use this on my mother when she had thin skin and she would tear her skin so easy and you're like, they're bleeding all the time. And you're just like, what do I do? This is what you do. This helps with this too. So again, it's not disease specific. It just makes the body do what you always wanted to do. Stay strong, stay healthy, because you're putting back in what it used to be able to do because it was making a lot of it when you were younger. That's what ASEA does. So I am an ASEA associate. If you could put up my contact information, it's that Word document up there at the top. Yeah. You can scroll up if you're able to. If anybody wants, I have business cards. If anybody wants, I even brought some ASEA unopened bottles. If anybody wants to try it, ASEA started with this. Then they progressed over the years, and they came up with this product. This is called Renew 28, and it helps with removing and keeping wrinkles away. But it's also good for pain. It's very good for that, for discomfort. It's very good for that. Okay, but it's really, so after I shave every day, I put some of this as a gel. It doesn't stink, no smell, no cold, no heat, and it immediately goes to work. It soothes your skin. So essentially, it's great for topical issues. So for women, I think really might be interested in that. It's called Renew 28. Then ASEA just recently came out because they keep on investing their profits into making more and better products. This one's called Redox Gold. And what they have come with, this is even better than ever. They took what they realized this works good for pain, which is due to the redox signaling molecules, and they just added some clay material and a few other ingredients. So it absorbs in a gel. They added gold to this. Yep, I know it sounds crazy, right? But they put gold. The scientists realized when you add gold particles to the redox signaling molecules, it is great for discomfort and recovery relief, and it's fast, and it lasts a long time. Yes. And depending on what's causing the pain or discomfort, it will go to the root cause and start to heal it up. It's very powerful. So if anybody's interested, the company is growing very, very well. It's in 42 countries around the world now. If you become an ASEA associate, you can do business wherever it is in the world. Currently, India is on the list to be added to. They're looking into that. But there's 42 other countries. So wherever there's ASEA located and established, you can do business there. And a lot of people are doing very well with the company. And there's no better, I feel, way to make a living than helping people to feel better. That was one of the reasons I became a nurse, to help people with healing. And once I became a nurse, I was like, already I was doing massage therapy before that. I knew about energy work, and so there's nothing greater that'll make you feel better than knowing you're helping other people, especially when they've been going to doctors or whatever they're doing and it's not working after years and they've given up. And you come along and they discover ASEA and they go, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. And it really does work. So if anybody's interested, contact information. I have business cards and I use my manifestation skills to help you have success. If you do want to go down that ASEA route, you can try it. 30-day money back guarantee. If anybody's interested, this is no joke. This is real deal, good stuff. So I'm at the end of that. Do we have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Sure. Okay. Do we have time to do a quick manifestation meditation? Okay. All right. This is what we're going to do, everybody. All right. So I've done this with groups of people before, and it works really well. Okay. It does really work quite well. Everything I taught you today, we're going to do right now, really quick. Okay. 5, 5, 5, and a prayer. We'll start with say in your mind or out loud the word grateful 5 times. I am grateful. 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 Usually you say what you're grateful for, but we're going to speed through this and hold that thought. Grateful. Okay. Now in your mind or say it out loud, say 5 things positive about yourself. Okay. Say, I like healing people. I like educating people about positive things in life. I am kind to people. I am kind to animals. I like helping bring positive political changes to the world. Okay. All right. Now you say 5 words 5 times each. And we'll do grateful again. Grateful, 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 grateful. Love, 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 love. I'm saying it fast. You usually won't say it slower, but we're on a time crunch. Unconditional love, unconditional love, unconditional love, unconditional love, unconditional love. Harmony, 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 harmony. Here's the big one, tough one. Forgiveness, right? A lot of people probably, everybody's had somebody you just like, oh, that person, ooh, forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. Okay. Say, I can already feel it. The vibration is already raised. It's good. And we'll say a prayer. And the prayer is part of the manifestation. Master Jesus and all the beings that surround me and work with me and all of the ascended masters and beings that are here in this with these groups of people, this wonderful, wonderful, polite, patient, open-minded group of people. Raise the healing energy. And I want everybody to think you're going to, as if you were at church and you put money in the basket, I want you to send out healing energy into this room for somebody else to receive. Even if you need it yourself, put it out there. Just say, I am sending healing thoughts to this group I am with here today. Knowing that there's other people, it will come back to you in this group and audience as well. Whatever healing you need, emotional, spiritual, physical, and believe in it. It works. Trust me. I'll ask you to trust me. Trust me. Now we'll go to manifestation for money. And the reason you always want to start with health and giving is because I've learned when you give and you donate even healthy energy, it helps manifestation for money to come into your life, which is a high frequency. So now I'll just say a prayer for everybody. I want you to think, put out there to everybody else is going to receive an increase in money in some way, somehow. Don't worry about how. Just say it'll come. And with no harm to others and no harm to self. It's very important to always say that because I manifested for money one time and I got rear-ended and I got money out of that, but that's not the way you want to do it. So I learned a lesson on that one. No harm to self, no harm to others. So put this money, think about this, put it out here, and I ask Master Jesus, Mother Mary, all the angels, all the ascended masters that are in this room, all the higher beings of light and angels, please bless this crowd with manifestation of money and abundance to come in their life with ease and grace. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sundarji, if there's anybody outside, if they want to come back within a minute or so for meditation, then this is a good time to do so.